Hi, I'm Wendy Yellen, and today what we're going to talk about, actually this is going to be an experiential video where I'm going to help you lower the tension, the anxiety, the heat, the aggravation, the any freneticness. I'm going to show you a couple ways that I use that really help me and my clients. And they're unusual. One of them is a purely eidetic image. The other one is my version, the eidetic version of a breathing exercise that you may already do a version of, but I'm going to show you how, one of the ways that we do it in Eidetics. So this is the art of transformation. And buckle your seatbelt because this is going to be very experiential. So you're going to want to remove distractions. If you want to try this, then do it with your whole self. Okay? And if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that. It helps us and helps me reach people like you who are craving expansion and depth and wanting to live your life in the deepest, most precious way. Okay? All right. So a reminder that all eidetic images were created by, all formal eidetic images were created by Dr. Akhter Ahsen, who is my mentor, my friend, my eidetic therapist, and who took what the Greeks understood, the ancient Greeks understood about our minds and our consciousness, what they understood about it, and then he made it into an accessible, evidence-based therapy that is, in more than 40 years of my working with people, and all the many certifications and trainings I've had, I've dropped everything in order just to do this because it is the most powerful way to create deep change that I've ever experienced personally and professionally. Okay.
So in other videos, I've talked about ways that you can notice and experience just how agitated you are and how uncentered and how it's difficult to stay still, to really be present when someone is talking to you, to be quiet enough to actually do what you say you want to do, create, for example, for your business, for your art, to do some deep work. As Cal Newport talks about how hard it is, right? It's very hard. There's a lot of distraction, and distraction helps to reduce anxiety, but just momentarily, and then we need it more and more and more. So let's talk about a different way that you can reduce your anxiety and actually reduce it overall in difficult situations and overall. So here is one that is not this one is from Dr. Ahsen, but it also, you've probably done other things like it, but it's a simple way for us to start. So I'm going to start there. If you've done other breathing processes, which you probably have, just try it this way and see what happens. You can do this with your eyes closed, I would recommend. Obviously not when you're driving. Have awareness of breathing in and awareness of breathing out. Simply that. Don't try to change anything. Don't try to deepen it. Don't try to calm yourself. Don't try to keep your mind on this or that. awareness of breathing in and awareness of breathing out. Now, maybe as soon as you do that, you realize that you're anxious already. Don't try to change it. Don't try to make it better. Just sit there with awareness of breathing in and awareness of breathing out. And I'm actually going to do this with you for a couple minutes. Try to hang in there with me and let's just see what happens for you, okay? All right. I'm noticing that I'm breathing mostly in my chest right now, but I'm not going to change it. I'm being aware of breathing in and aware of breathing out. You stay with yourself, and I'm going to make comments every once in a while. Keeping it simple, just awareness of breathing in and awareness of breathing out. Nothing else. I'm still breathing pretty shallowly, but I'm not going to do anything to change it. I'm going to put my attention on the awareness only. My mind is still going, and I keep putting my awareness on breathing in and awareness on breathing out. Just keep doing it with me. I'm beginning to notice, even though I'm on a video with you and I'm thinking about that, some part of my mind is thinking about that, I'm also noticing I'm coming a little bit back into my body and I'm feeling different, present in a different way. But I'm not changing anything, as I said. And I'm noticing, actually, come on back, because I think it might be hard for you while I'm talking. I am noticing that I feel a little better. I feel just a little different, just from that, even though I'm making a video, which already is anxiety provoking for me. Just that little bit, I feel a little more open. I feel a little bigger. Feel a little kinder, a little more at ease. I can feel just from that, which is to me pretty amazing, given that I'm quote unquote leading this session. So that's one thing. Now your mind is going to want to complicate it and change things and go off on tangents, and you'll forget to be aware. No, as I said multiple times, don't do any of that. It's such a simple instruction, and yet I have seen clients mangle it. I mean mangle it. It's 2 phrases. And I've seen people complicate it so much, and you really get to see how our minds interfere with something super simple and clear that can make a difference for you. So just try it and see what happens. And I'm going to do a different experiential exercise with you that is quite different from what you would probably have encountered anywhere. And it will be working with your mind in a really different way. Now, you may or may not like this right away. I know in the beginning it was hard for me to connect to, but I am finding it so helpful over time for me and my clients. One of my clients, during her private all-day intensive, we used this for pain, and it made a remarkable difference in her physical pain. I've used this with, when I work with my mastermind, we often open with an image that involves ice, which is what this image that I'm going to do with you involves, and ice in an image, not actual ice. And the way that people come down just in a few minutes after a whole day of working, because we meet towards the end of the day, is palpable. And what I also love about it is that you can see the change on people's faces. You can see the softening, and you can see the presence. And a lot of time, once the stress leaves, you can see the beauty, and it's right there. A lot of my clients used to call it a cosmic facelift, because real change you see on people's faces, right? It's not just a head thing. All right, so I'm going to take one of many, maybe dozens and dozens and dozens of ice images that Dr. Ahsen developed. It's very, very simple. So see your brain in an image. You close your eyes. Of course, I'm assuming you're not driving. And look at your brain in an image. So you're not trying to imagine what your brain would look like. You're just hearing the instruction and letting yourself see your brain. And then when you look at your brain, what you want to do is touch the brain in the image and look for temperature, color, heat. And what I'd like you to do is look for the heated places, the hot places. You may need to look in crevices and in hidden places, because a lot of time heat will hide. And of course, if you need more time, pause the recording anytime. Now, once you've given yourself some time, you'll get a vague or vivid sense of vision of image of where the heat is. For some people, it's going to be very vague. A lot of you, though, will see very specific blazing hot places, lava flow places that you'll see in the brain, in the image. So you want to look at the shape and the color and the size. And now, just for the fun of it, as you're looking at this brain in the image, think of something that's really agitating you right now, in your life right now. And then look at the brain and see what color or what the heat is like in that spot or in other parts of the brain. Just see how it changes the heat in the brain or changes what you're seeing in your brain. I know for me, that spot that I'm seeing, which for me is on the right side and it's kind of round, I thought of something that's aggravating me, and it started kind of pulsing and feels just stronger in my mind right now. All right, so once you've got that and you found the hidden heat, now start to pour. You're going to have all the cold, slushy ice in the cosmos. So start to pour cold, slushy ice in your image on your brain to cool it down. And what you're looking for is not like this instant, okay, now it's normal brain temperature, and you're definitely not looking for brain freeze. What you're looking to watch is as you pour or shovel this cold, slushy ice in the image on that spot in the brain, watch what you see, what happens to the heat, and also how you feel. Now, you're going to want to take your time, so pause at any point. I'm going to walk you through what's happening with me, but you may need more time, and you may need time when I'm not talking. So I'm going to talk you through mine. But of course yours is going to be yours, not mine. It may look completely different than mine. In fact, it probably will. So I'm seeing that it's like a big round red pulse on the right side of my brain. And I'm starting to pour cold, slushy ice on it. And the pouring for me is very vague, but this big round thing is really strong. Okay, at first, it's like the ice is kind of hitting off the heat. It's not doing anything. It's kind of bouncing off. So I'm telling you what I'm seeing, because you may see something similar, or you may see something a little bit different, but I'm going to give you some ways that I'm working with my ice. So I see, because it's bouncing off, I need to make a way for the cold slushy ice to go in. So I'm making a little pathway in there, and I'm starting to pour it in. So now I see it traveling down this kind of jagged pathway. And it's definitely cooling the pathway itself. I'm starting to feel less agitated in that place. I'm starting to come more down in my body. I'm starting to care less about the thing that was aggravating me before. It's kind of more neutral, or not a part of me. Now I'm going to stop talking about my image, and I'm going to suggest that you pause the recording here, do your own, and then come back. And then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about what might have just happened for you. All right. So I'm assuming you took some time and did that. Notice, what did you actually see? Were you able to keep doing the cold slushy ice as you were able to cool the brain to normal brain temperature? And then are you noticing how you feel and how you feel about the thing that was aggravating you right now? Did it actually cool down, or is it still hot? Or you may have had many heated places. If we're to do the full process, and again, you can stop the recording here and do that, then you really, really, really take your time. I did an image very similar to this once for a whole hour with a group. And when I'm working with people, I do the image too. And I noticed that after that length of time of really staying with my own mind, my own process, really seeing what I was seeing, feeling what I was feeling, staying with the image, letting the image guide me. So if it was still hot, I would still keep pouring and shoveling cold slushy ice until it got to normal brain temperature. And I stayed and stayed and stayed. And I noticed that my level of agitation after that hour, overall, my my normal level of agitation had kind of chunked down to a new lower level. It was pretty amazing to me. So again, notice how you're feeling. So that's one way. Well, actually what we just did was we worked with 2 different ways of helping yourself to come back down into yourself in a way that in the moment and over time, if you keep with it, can reduce the level of agitation, which will reduce your need, the knee-jerk need to distract yourself, which will then increase creativity, contact with yourself, contact with other people, compassion, presence, and pleasure in life. So I really hope that was helpful to you, and I will see you on the next recording. Bye for now.